What's up, y'all? AJ Simmons here with another video for you. Great topic, and a topic that I've covered vaguely in different videos, but I think this video is definitely well overdue. Let's discuss. And if you're listening on the podcast, shout out to you. I keep saying video, but some of y'all ain't watching the video. But anyway, we want to discuss 1099 contractors versus W-2 employees for your cleaning company or for your service business in general, okay? First off, disclaimer, I'm no tax expert. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. So this is not any of that type of advice. This is just a guy trying to help you out, okay? So don't take it as legal advice or anything like that. But based off my research, and I do want to cite my sources, which is irs.gov mainly. And then I also did check out some information from 180 Law Company LLC, which is on YouTube as well, so make sure you check them out. But basically, three main categories that I found on the IRS's website, and as you can see if you're looking at this, what's on my screen, I wrote an article on this on my website, cleanbusinessnetwork.com, back in May 2017, where I added some notes on why I paid my workers 1099, and then I also quoted a lot from the IRS.gov website. I actually just copy and pasted. You can see everything here. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and go over here in this audio, okay? So basically, number one, three things that the IRS looks at is behavioral control, financial control, and the relationship between you and the worker, okay? So the first thing, when it comes to behavioral control, they're kind of looking at, okay, how and when the job is done and how much control you have over that. Then when it comes to financial control, they're looking at, if the person is taking any financial risk, like for example, when it comes to paying for expenses, are you letting the workers pay for their own supplies and chemicals? If they do, are you reimbursing them? Because if they're supposed to be contractors, you shouldn't be reimbursing them. That's what employees get, is reimbursements. All right, just something to think about. Then how you're paying them. Like maybe you're having them clock in like employees and clock out like employees. So that's something to look at. Then the third thing, when it comes to like relationship type, maybe you need do you have a contract in place? Are you giving these people benefits? Like insurance benefits, 401k plans, and things like that. Okay, so I came up with these list of kind of things you can kind of go over just to help you decide whether or not if you can pay somebody as a 1099 contractor or as a W-2 employee. Now, again, with my cleaning company, I personally paid people as 1099 contractors simply because obviously it was cheaper. Okay, you get to avoid those payroll taxes. And then in my case, I thought it was more convenient for the workers as well because they get that freedom. All right, but I'm going to go into that in a little bit. All right, so the first thing I think that you can probably consider when you're trying to, and really when I'm doing this video, I'm basically trying to help you if you're looking to pay people as 1099 contractors. I'm not necessarily comparing. I'm more so trying to give you a guideline, a loose guideline on what you might be able to do if you wanted to pay 1099, because I see that most people want to, but they're just afraid to. All right, so number one, I would say when it comes to providing the tools, again, you can't reimburse them on that, okay? Now, I did provide supplies and equipment and leave it at the different buildings that I had and let the workers use that equipment. However, they had the freedom to bring their own if they didn't like our supplies and equipment. So that was kind of one thing that I kind of did to try to get around that. All right. The second thing is how the work is done. Okay. So if you have 1099 contractors and not employees, technically these people, if they're contractors, they should already know what they're doing. So you shouldn't really have an extensive training system within your company. Like basically these people should already be trained and have a general basic knowledge. You should only be providing guidelines on what's expected of the job. Okay. So let's just say, for example, if you shouldn't be telling them what order to clean the building in. You should be able to provide the address. Okay. You should be able to tell them, okay, you can go in anytime after 5 o'clock, and then they can go in anytime after 5 o'clock. It shouldn't be you work here from 5 to 7. That's if you want these people to be a contractor, okay? If you want them to be considered as a contractor, then they should be treated as such, all right? And next thing goes hand in hand. When it comes to clocking in and out, maybe you shouldn't have a clock in and clock out system, all right? So Just some things to consider. I did have a clock in, clock out system, but it wasn't a clock in, clock out system where their pay was based off of the time that they clocked in and clocked out. Their pay was separate. They had a set amount that they were paid each month on their monthly statement, but they did have to call in on the Google Voice line and leave a voice message just letting us know what time they got in and what time they got out. Mainly just so for tracking purposes, okay? So we can know that somebody's actually cleaning the building that night. And then also so we can kind of look at the time that it's taking them, because we know if they're taking way too long, then they're being underpaid. So maybe we need to revise how much we're paying them. And then if they're going way too fast, and they might not be doing a thorough enough job. So if we start getting complaints, well, we can look at the times that they were taking to clean the building, and then we know why. That's probably why they were rushing through the building, all right? But you don't want to tie your pay into your clock in, clock out system if you have a clock in and clock out system. Initially, I didn't even have a clock in, clock out system at all. We just kind of trusted these people to be adults. If you can make it, go. And if you couldn't, just call and let us know. But eventually, we did implement that clock in, clock out system, all right? Another thing that you might want to look at is this person subbing for multiple businesses, all right? Or if they're just subbing for yours. So if this subcontractor is working for you and only you, and their sole financial stability relies, specifically on your company, you might want to, try to change that, because if they're a contractor, then 9 times out of 10, they might work for multiple companies. So one thing that I did was I shared my workers with other cleaning companies. So I was allies with a lot of cleaning companies in my area, and they would ask me if I had workers available, for a certain time. And so I would let them, lend my contractors out and say, hey, there's an opportunity over here if you're interested. There's an opportunity over there if you're interested. All right. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, these are all loose things. These are loose terms. There's a lot of gray areas in these laws. So I'm not telling you have to follow each one of these things. I'm just giving you ideas and things that you might be able to use in order to pay people as 1099 contractors. All right. The next thing. Do they have a trade name or LLC, okay, or even the EIN number? So one thing that I noticed, because you guys know I used to be with a cleaning franchise, and I was a unit franchise owner. And so the cleaning franchises, I think still to this day, they've been going through this for years now, a class action lawsuit, because a gang of unit franchise owners got together and said basically that they're not contractors or franchise owners. They're actually employees based on the franchise is making them to abide by certain things, or et cetera, et cetera. So one thing that the franchise that I noticed that they're doing to try to get around the unit franchise owners being looked at as employees is they require you now at most locations. You can't just buy in a franchise under your name anymore. It's now required that you get your LLC and EIN number first. Okay, so that's a tactic that you could use. Don't pay people directly in their personal name. Require them to have an LLC and an EIN number ahead of time. Again, if they are contractors, they will have that anyway, or some type of trade name, or at least an EIN number. Okay, EIN number is free. And then if they need an LLC, if you require them to have a LLC, if they don't know where to go, show them where to go to get it, all right, or how to get it, all right. And it doesn't have to be an LLC. They can just have a trade name, or doing business as, all right, or even a corporation. But I'm just giving you ideas, and I'm, if I'm not mistaken, you don't even have to have an LLC to get an EIN number, okay, a tax ID number. They might can get it in their own name as well. So just something to consider, all right? And then the last thing I want you to think about is, does this person send you invoices at the end of each month, okay? So a contractor would invoice you, okay? An employee would get basically a time card, like you would show them how much time that they worked for the month, and then you would pay them and give them a check stub. Well, if these people are contractors, then maybe they should be invoicing you every month. I noticed that was another thing that the franchises started implementing. They didn't necessarily call it an invoice. They call it, I forgot exactly what they call it, but basically they would make franchise owners submit reports every month showing how much, what buildings they clean, and then what each building gross, so the franchise knows how much to pay them, even though the franchise already knew how much to pay them. Okay, and so maybe you can implement something like that if you want to go 1099. All right, so that's just a list of things that you might want to consider, and then I added these other things as well. Just overall, if you really do want to go 1099, think about insurance. All right, You could require a 1099 contractor. A contractor is required to carry their own insurance, so you could require them that, or you can just add them on as an additional insured on your policy. It could affect their price, so just keep that in mind. But make sure you consider insurance when it comes to this. Also, have a contract in place. I went over that again. I went over that before, but I want to implement it. Implement that again, or restate that again. I didn't have contracts in place. The only contract that I had in place for my 1099 contractors were non-compete agreements. Okay, but I never thought up until here recently to actually make them sign an actual contractor agreement, subcontractor agreement. So shout out to Jadia, who brought that to my attention not too long ago, because I see that she had one in place with her subcontractors, and she had me review it and take a look at that for her. So make sure you have maybe get a contract in place. All right. Then another thing too that I really did that I think that really stood out and helped me with my situation with my 1099 contractors was to educate them. Okay. Make sure they know and understand that they're contractors, they're not employees. Tell them, how the taxes are going to work, that you're not withholding taxes, so they need to be prepared to pay their taxes. And again, maybe you can even, like I said, educate them on getting the EIN number or LLC number. Help them open a business bank account, okay, if they don't have all of these things in place already. All right. And I would educate my people to the point where I want them to be actual business owners. I'm training you, you're subbing under me. And at some point, maybe you do want to start a cleaning company. Most of these people, everybody ain't cut out for business, but I still offer that information, just in case they do decide, okay, you know what, I've been with you 3-4 years now, let me go ahead and branch out and do my thing. All right, so just some things that you can consider when you're trying to do 1099. And then the last thing I will say too to consider is maybe even required. Oh, I already said that. I'm sorry. I got my notes here and I'm looking over them, but I just said that one. All right. So now, if you're still unsure after listening to all these different tips on how to pay somebody 1099, the IRS made it easy for you. All right. All you can do is go to irs.gov and you can complete form SS8. And when you complete that SS8 form, the IRS will actually tell you if your people are actually W-2 employees or 1099 contractors. Okay, so you can take the guesswork out of it and complete that form, and they'll let you know straight up if this person is 1099 or not. So that's just kind of some tips. Hopefully that this information was able to help you. But my personal advice really is, if you starting and you bootstrapping and you really have a limited budget, I recommend go 1099 from the beginning and just, oops, I lost my page. All right, well, I recommend go 1099 at the beginning. Well, I guess it's where y'all need to be anyway. Come join us in Clean Biz Network, right? But I recommend you start 1099 in the beginning, build your wealth up, and then go ahead and convert everybody over to W-2 employees who actually would be better off as W-2 employees. For those people who actually are built to be contractors, keep them as contractors, all right? But now, if you have the budget and you can pay W-2 from the beginning and you want to have your system all together, and you want them to follow your extensive training course, and you want everybody to be unified in uniforms, and that's another thing I need to speak on, then go to W-2 from the beginning and treat them as employees, all right? Another thing to keep in mind is contractors usually should be paid a little bit higher, all right? So just keep that in mind as well, that if you're going to have a contractor, maybe you can pay them a little bit more since you're not having to pay the payroll taxes. But I wanted to speak on this uniforms, all right? So you can have a 1099 contractor wear your uniform, but again, if you don't have to have them wear it, then don't, because there's just one more thing that you can say that they're not employees if they don't have to wear your shirt. Again, I required them to wear my shirt. Franchises require their unit franchise owners to wear their shirt. So I've seen it done before, but again, if you can get around them not wearing your logo and your merchandise or anything with your company's branding on it, the better, all right? But I've seen different, I've seen big contracts where the actual company, like let's just say you were contracting for a company to clean a customer, and I've seen it in contracts where they require you to wear their company shirts, okay? So it's not uncommon that will be required, but I'm just letting you know that if you can get around making them wear your shirt, the stronger your argument for them being 1099 contractors will be, okay? But anyway, since we're here, make sure you come join us in Clean Biz Network. If you are already in business and you don't need to start a kit and you just need some help and some guidance from us, We got 200, I think we almost at 300 members now, Clean Biz Network. Plus me, I'm in there every single day. All right, and we're applying to people. The course comes with the membership, or you can get leads from us. All right, so you can come get leads from us to help grow your cleaning company. So go to cleanbiznetwork.com to check that out. And if you haven't started your business yet, make sure you check out our Clean the Business Starter Kit. All right, all of this can be found at cleanbiznetwork.com. And I appreciate y'all listening to this video. Hopefully this video was able to help, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you.